Hey everyone, welcome to the power. Hold on, let's get this going. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. Woo, got it working. I don't know what was going on there. Welcome to Just Ask JT, the live podcast where we're going to talk about the power of a strong network today. Giving a shout out to everybody on YouTube and LinkedIn and here over on TikTok and Facebook. Facebook just came to the show. Welcome everybody. And of course, the biggest shout out, the biggest hug, and the biggest love goes to the amazing community inside our free resource center. Folks, can I just talk for 1 second before we get into networking? I mean, speaking of networking, we have had over 1,000 people a week sign up for the free resource center since we started it, right? 7,000 people and counting are now inside this totally free, no credit card required platform, crushing it. And the feedback we've been getting is just as we hoped, right? Which is people are like, oh my gosh, there's more value in this than the paid stuff that I paid for. See, we learned last year that a lot of you have been scammed. You have been scammed by resume writers, LinkedIn writers, so-called gurus, people kind of hawking their info products. And it left a bitter taste in people's mouths. Like when we learned how many people got burned, and it's only getting worse. We were like, what can we do as a company? Because I can't work with everyone. My team and I, we can't work with everyone one-on-one. We wish we could, but we can't. So we were like, okay, what can we do for the millions of people out there? And we were like, we're going to build this free resource center. We're going to put like $1,000 of really valuable materials in there, the stuff that other people are charging for, and we're not going to charge for it. I'm going to go live 3 times a week. Right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my podcast is live and we're going to give them access to that and the recordings, right? As well as other free resources that when we find things we can give you that are truly of value, like we do the vetting and their value, we will have them for you. But it is such a vibrant and amazing community of professionals. I love you all so much inside our free resource center. I can't say enough good things about it. So if you haven't signed up for our free resource center, if you haven't become part of the Work It Daily private community, now's your shot. Right? The link is in my bio or the link is down below. Join the free resource center. Again, there's no credit card required. You're just popping your email address in and you're becoming part of this now 7,000 strong and counting. And together we're going to get everybody the results they're looking for. That's what we're going to do here. And we're going to get away from all these scams. I'm so sorry that there are that many scammers out there, especially the resume writers, the LinkedIn profile writers. I just saw another one today and it just breaks my heart that people spent money on that. So anything we can do to help you is key. Okay. Speaking of which, let's talk about a powerful network, because you'll hear me say a lot in my videos to all of you that your network is your net worth in your career. And it really is true. And I'm going to explain why. You are a business of one. You are a service provider. Don't think of yourself like an employee, right? You sell your services to an employer. And when you work for a specific employer, the only network you really have are the people you're working with, right? So your fellow coworkers. However, what happens when you want a new job one day? So when over time, let's say you jump jobs a couple times, or people you know who work together now work someplace else, that's when networking starts to kick in. Because now maybe somebody you worked with works at a company you'd like to work for. Is that making sense? The problem is that when most people are looking for a job, their network is too limited. They don't have enough of a network. Either the majority of the people in their network work at the company they were at or at, and there's very few people they know very well working at other companies. Does that make sense to all of you? If it does, can you give me a heck yeah? Yeah. Is this making sense? So we hear all the time, these people go, networking is everything. You hear me saying your network is your net worth, but you go, yeah, but how do I build a network? If I'm busy working and my only network connections are the people that are in my company, how do I build a network? Okay. Well, other career coaches, not me, other career coaches will tell you, well, you got to go to networking events. I'm actually not going to tell you to do that. I am an introvert. I don't like going to networking events either. I'm just going to call it. Okay. What you see here is a very learned behavior. So when I found my calling, and I'm doing a video on it today on social media, of calling to me is the intersection of a problem that you really care about solving that's bigger than yourself, and being able to leverage your skills to do it. When I realized that none of us were being taught how to look for work or build careers on our own terms, but we were paying how much money to go to college and going through all this schooling, and we weren't learning this stuff, that's when I really got committed to the idea that I just wanted to serve people and really change this. And the day that I made that decision over 20 years ago was one of the best days of my life because I love what I do. My work is the reward, if that makes sense to you. And that's what a true calling is. And only about 10% of the population ever finds their calling. And so it's not for everyone. I don't think everyone should have a calling. I'm doing a video on that today too, about the difference between a job, a career, and a calling. But in order to get where you want to be, especially in a career or a calling, you're going to have to know people. And I don't think networking has to be the way to do it. Instead, the better way to do it is to connect with people on a shared topic of discussion. So where networking can get easier, for example, is if you go to a training and you're all being trained on the same thing. So you're all there for the same reason. It's a lot easier to get to know the people in your classmates, so to speak, right? Whereas those networking events where you're just supposed to walk up to total strangers and introduce yourself, they never made sense to me because it's not a very good result ratio. If I walk into an event and there's 100 people there, it's likely that maybe 5 people in that room have the same interest as me if it's just a general networking event. So my job is just like go out and randomly sit and talk to people to try to find the one that actually shares a connection. I don't do that. It's like the rejection rate or the non-connection rate is so high, and that's painful. So for me, it's about very calculated ways of strengthening my network, because it is true. A powerful network is going to be what opens doors for you and what attracts the best opportunities. Are you all with me so far? Are you seeing what I'm talking about here? So we can agree that networking, knowing people at the company you want to work at who know of you and know of your work, like that's powerful. But unless you plan on job jumping every 6 months and doing such a good job every 6 months that all those people still want to recommend you, and doing that for say 5 or 10 years, so that by the time all those people land at other jobs, you have enough of a network. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, right? Okay, good. Because I hear other gurus, so-called gurus, talking about this, and I'm like, you're not making sense. That's not accurate. So us, you, me, all of us, we do want a strong network, but we don't want to sit here and waste our time, especially our free time, going to these networking events. It's just not who we are, okay? We want a really strong ratio. So a powerful network starts with targeting, okay? Now, I target in 3 areas. 3 areas. Sorry, it's busy. Okay. First, I target by industry. So I will say, I want to find 10 people in my industry, at my level, that I think have really interesting backgrounds, and that I feel like together we could have an interesting conversation about something happening in our industry. All right. Column 1. Column 2 is my skill set. I'm going to go find 10 people who have the same skill set as me that are really interesting, doing interesting things with it, and have a conversation with them. Okay. And then third would be location. Now, we live in a much more remote world, which is really exciting, but it still can help to know people in your local area so that you can physically meet up with people. It does help to have nice, physically present one-on-ones with people. Those kinds of conversations are very motivating and very empowering. Okay. And so if you were to say, here are 10 people in my industry, here are 10 people in my skill set, and here are 10 people in my general area, and tackle getting to know those people, your network, they call it like a Venn diagram. If we did the 3 circles, you're going to start to really tighten up your network. It becomes far more powerful. And I'm going to give you all an example to support this. Yes? Okay. So when I started realizing this, I applied it using LinkedIn. I'm such a fan of LinkedIn. I've been very lucky to be a top voice with them for over a decade. And people often say, how did you get to 2.5 million followers on the platform? And I said, by very strategically networking. I did not go to big events to meet all these people. Here's what I did. I went and found 10 people in the HR career space, right, that I thought were doing really interesting things, okay? So they're like HR, career, recruiting, that sort of space. And I said, they're doing really interesting things. I want to learn more about their work. I want to learn more about what their goals are, their aspirations, what they think of certain things. And I actively reached out and asked them to connect and said, hey, I think what you're doing in the HR recruiting career space is really interesting. Could we connect? I'd love to have a short conversation and get your thoughts on X. And I would give them a very specific topic. And now if they nerded out on that too, right? They would say yes. And so you went through the list. Now you're not going to get 100%, but you are going to get people to connect with you because you're being hyper specific around the industry and what you want to talk about. And I would have a call with them, a virtual coffee with them. Okay. Now, the second column was just actual coaching. They didn't have to be career coaches. So fitness coaches, mental health coaches, executive coaches, like all different types of coaches. I would look for coaches that are like, I love their vibe. I love their style. I love their approach. I love their niche. And I made a list of 10 and I did the same thing. And I said, love that you're in coaching like me, love your approach on this. Cause I would watch their stuff if they did videos or rather than say, can we have a conversation? I want to hear more about how you're approaching it this year. And again, not everybody responded, but some did. And we would bond because they could see that we matched, right? So let's have a conversation. And then the third one was I found people in my physical area who was local that was either in coaching or in HR recruiting industry that was a local profile that was interesting and was like, hey, can we meet up sometime? Folks, this was the epiphany for me about this is all it takes to build a powerful network. And when I work through the 30, right, I find a new 30, but here's how it got a lot easier. I don't have to look for people anymore. Because once you start meeting these people, at the end, I'm like, look for somebody in my network you'd like to meet. I would love to introduce you to somebody in my network. And if there's somebody that you could think of in your network that you think I could have an equally interesting conversation with, could we do that for one another? Of course we can. Now that we've had a conversation, we were like, yeah, okay, sure. I don't make the lists anymore. It's just people would like message me and be like, JT, remember that conversation you and I had? I just had a conversation with Phil. He's so interesting. You absolutely have to have a conversation with him. And I trust that person because I remember how great that conversation was. And folks, it's so freaking natural. The hardest part is you making your list and doing the initial outreach. Because I get it. Like you're not going to get 100% response rate, but you are going to get responses. And then once those responses start coming in and you start having those conversations, you're not asking them for a job. You're just talking about something you nerd out on together. It is so powerful. And then you just start referring each other and just saying, if there's one person that you think that I could learn from, would you introduce me, and vice versa. It's amazing. And as long as you commit to that, because I had an article I wrote for LinkedIn go super viral one day, and it took me all of 5 minutes to write. This is literally like a decade ago. And I was like, things I do every day. My company's called Work It Daily. And I was like, every day I'll get in Monday through Friday, I give myself the weekends off. And I go find 5 people in my network I haven't talked to in a long time. And I send the note, hello. And then I would try to find 5 new people that I would want to connect with. I've since had to alter that because this has gotten so good for me, right? That all I have to do now is go in and respond and connect. I don't have to go look for new people anymore. So this is the secret. You don't have to waste your valuable free time going to network events where you might get lucky and meet 1 or 2 people, unless you're super extroverted and that just fuels you, go for it. But if you're me and you'd rather be home reading a book or doing something else, this strategic strategy, listen to me, this strategy, I can't even tell you how easy it is to implement. And it will make all the difference in the world for you in terms of networking. And the reason I say that is that if you can do this consistently like I have it, right? If you devote 30 minutes a week, come on, we spend more time on social media, binge watching on Netflix, whatever. If we could do 30 minutes a week of, all right, here's my list of people in my industry, people in my skill set, people geographically. Let me do some outreach. Let me set a call. And if you were to have one of these fun calls a week, a year from now, that's 30 minutes of your time, a year from now, your network's going to be fire. And that's when the opportunities start coming your way. If you don't want to have to knock on doors for jobs anymore, if you would like jobs coming to you, it's all about the networking. And this has proven to work so well for me over the years. It's amazing. All of the most amazing opportunities I've not had to go look for. They have come to me, okay, because of this networking strategy and, of course, because of my content strategy, which we will talk about on another day, right? Like providing evidence, serving my network, putting content out there to help people at no charge. That has been a really powerful way for opportunities to come my way. But I understand not everybody wants to be a content creator. Not everybody has the job I have. And so I'm telling you, you don't have to do that. You could do this networking strategy and get amazing results. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Is this making sense for everybody? Does it help? Like, are you like, okay, yeah, JT's right. I don't have to go to all these networking events. I can be smart about this. I can be strategic. And once you get this thing going, it just fuels itself. And you have really interesting conversations with people about the stuff you actually care about your industry and your skill sets and your area of town, right? Like it's so obvious to me now. And, you know, I stumbled upon it, broke it down, tested it, found it worked like crazy, and was like, okay, I got to teach people this, especially for my introverts out there. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so that's your homework assignment. That's what all of you are going to do now. You're going to go make your list of 10, industry, skill set, location, and you're going to start working the plan. Yes? Does that make sense? All right, I'm so excited for you. So Karen over on TikTok, shout out to Karen on TikTok, is asking what things should be included when you message and reach out. That's an awesome question. Okay. So let's say you are in digital marketing in the healthcare industry in Houston, Texas. Okay. So you're going to go find 10 people in digital marketing that you respect and admire with the title digital marketing in their title. You're going to go find 10 people in marketing. Doesn't have to be digital marketing, but like in marketing in healthcare, like people who are in healthcare that have interesting backgrounds, and maybe specifically healthcare companies that you admire, right? In case you might want to work there someday, but you're not yet. And then you're going to go find people that are in digital healthcare marketing in your local area in Houston. You're going to make a list, okay? So for that first list of digital marketing people, you are going to add a note. So you're going to ask them to connect on LinkedIn. I don't want any of you paying for premium. By the way, nowhere in here did I say to do that. Okay. We're going to use the free version of LinkedIn. You're going to ask them to connect. And when it says add a note, you're going to say yes. And you're going to be like, hey, Mary, I see that you have spent the last 7 years in digital marketing. I've spent the last 10 years in it as well. I was curious what you think about the newest trends in email automation. Any chance we could grab a quick call? I'd love to get your take, right? So I'm just spitballing here. But see how we both acknowledge that we're in digital marketing, acknowledge like a thought on something like maybe a tool or a technology or a trend that's happening in digital marketing. Would love to get your take on it. Can we connect? That's it. When I'm reaching out to the people in healthcare, hey, Mary, I see you're in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for 5 years. I'm wondering what you're thinking about the new government regulations on blank and how it's going to affect marketing. Can we connect? I'd love to get your take on it. And then locally, hey, Mary, I can't believe we're both in Houston and we work in healthcare digital marketing. I'd love to connect and get your take on how you feel about the industry and where you see it's going, right? So it's all about identifying a point of commonality, industry, skill set, location, talking about something that's relevant to that industry, skill set, location, and can we connect? That's it. That's all you're doing. You only have 300 characters, so it's going to force you to be brief anyways. But adding that note helps them understand that it's legit, that's not a bot, that you really are a human and that you're interested in chatting with them. Now, once they accept, you can now message them directly in LinkedIn. You're now connected. And by the way, little note here. Every time you connect with somebody at a company, if the recruiter at that company was to search for somebody with your skill sets, you would rank higher because you are connected to somebody at that company. Let me say that again. So let's talk about the power of this networking. If you were to target people that work at companies you might want to work for someday, and you do this technique, when they accept your connection request, now when the recruiters from that company search, you will rank higher in the search results because the search results is going to go, hey, this person has the skill sets you're looking for, and they're already connected to some people at the company. They see that like a referral, and you rank higher in the search results. So this is another reason why you want to do this strategy. Awesome. Okay, I hope that made sense. Thank you so much. Okay, very proud of you all. You all have homework to do now that you understand this technique. It is not hard. It is free. And once you get started, it literally just kind of feeds itself. It supports itself. And there's no going to stressful networking events where you know nobody and you're just trying to make friends. And we're not doing that. We're building a strong, powerful network with a tight strategy and the power of LinkedIn, the free version. Awesome. Okay, everybody, listen up. I will be back tomorrow and again on Thursday. If you want to be able to watch recordings, if you want access to $1,000 worth of my resources, if you want to be able to submit topics for my show, if you want to be able to access everything, it's in my brand new free resource center. No credit card required. 7,000 people and counting are in there. We're changing the world together. I'm starting a movement, the job seeker movement, right? We're going to be allies to the job seeker. We're going to come together and support one another and make things happen. If that sounds like you in 2025, if you're like, heck yeah, I want a new, better paying job. I want to be with a bunch of bright people who want a new, better paying job. We're going to figure this out. You need to be inside the Work It Daily Free Resource Center. The community is fire. The people are amazing. And it's literally only been open for a few weeks. So, and there's power in numbers. There's power in numbers. We have a voice when we stand together, and I can teach you all what you need to really know to get the results you're looking for. Because I wish I could work with everybody one-on-one, and I can. And that's what our team talked about. And we don't want to see people getting scammed. Don't want you getting scammed. I don't want you spending money on stuff that can really hurt you. Okay. So I hope to see you in the free resource center, and I hope to see you tomorrow at my next live. And don't forget, if you have a topic, if you're in the free resource center, submit your topics for future shows. Okay, everybody, go get networking. Yes, you got this. Ciao, everyone. See you tomorrow.